Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show on a pretty stinking nice Monday morning.
A little chilly, but it's fine. Pickle.
Yes.
Longtime viewers of Texas football today may know that I was gonna break out the grill this weekend. Gonna break out the grill this weekend, and I made the smoked queso.
Yes, that was my main question, but I was going to wait till the show. I really wanted to ask you when you first walked in. I almost messaged you yesterday.
I made the smoked queso, and guys,
Is the hype real?
it's banging.
Oh, really?
It's banging. And I gotta be honest, I think I'm. It's one of those things. Okay, you're a golfer, right?
Yes.
You get to the end of your round and you shoot a what was a decent score for you? Not a great score, but a decent score for you on 18 holes.
I mean, as long as I break 100 and I'm out there
Okay,
having a good
got it.
time, then
Okay,
I
that's
feel like
fine.
that's really good.
That's fine. You
Like-
shoot a 95.
Yeah.
Right? You shoot a 95. You're overall pretty pleased with it,
Yeah.
but
why
you
not?
also you're like I know
can do better.
I left a couple strokes on the table
Yeah.
there. I left a couple shots out there.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mhm.
That's what happened yesterday with the smoked queso.
Mm.
I made the smoked queso, and I want to be very clear.
It was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. And the reviews from the family were excellent.
Okay.
But here's the other thing.
Mhm.
I'm also like, I know what I'm going to do different next time.
Okay.
I already know what I'm going to do different next time. I know I'm going to I put kind of the whole sliced jalapenos in there. I'm going to chop those
Dice
up
them up.
we dice them up so we get a little bit more
Okay.
consistency. I am going to I think I'm going to I used they said to use you need some sort of like a liquid agent in there. I used milk. I
Okay.
think next time I might use beer or I might use even just
I bet-
water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
something
gonna
like
say,
that.
I bet whipping cream might make
Some
it.
people want you to use like
yeah.
cream of mushroom soup.
Yes.
I was a little gun shy on that. and I
Ooh,
didn't
no,
want to do that.
that's how I make my queso.
Oh, there you go.
So good.
So
And
yeah.
I don't like mushrooms, so
So yeah.
that says something.
So overall, very very good. We do have another bit of news that we should mention.
Okay.
And I guess I didn't pull a photo because I don't know if photos are widely available right now. But a very special congratulations to our digital director,
Mm-hmm.
William Wilkerson,
Yes.
and his new bride,
Mm-hmm.
Erin Hardigan, who got hitched this weekend.
Yes, they
They
did.
got hitched down in Austin. Congratulations to them. We are thrilled for them. They were supposed to get married back last year.
Yeah, last
before-
May.
Last May, because I remember being very angry with Will. He had taken the job, and he was going to get married like the week before deadline or something
Mhm.
like that. And I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. And then, like, of course, the whole world comes crumbling down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. They end up pushing it to this year. But yes, Will and Erin are now hitched. They are now official. So congratulations to
Yeah.
them. We're thrilled for them. And yeah, it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
Two of my very favorite people. So I'm very happy
Yes.
that they were able to
Very
tie
happy
the knot.
for them.
And go ahead.
Oh, no, if you didn't have anything else, I had one other
We
other
go
topic of
live to Ashley
conversation.
Pickle.
I know we've had this conversation before in the Slack chat.
Yeah.
What are your takes on pedicures? Have you
I've never
had
done it.
You've
I've
never done it? Okay.
My feet are gross.
Okay. Well, that's more reason to get one.
I am not.
I know, like Step
I'm-
preaches about it. Like
I'm
Step
not.
loves
I'm
them.
not categorically opposed to it. I probably won't do it
Mm-hmm.
because my feet are ticklish,
Okay. See, and that's
And
where I was.
and I'm like, oh, like I'm okay with people touching my feet.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me be very clear. Don't run up to me and grab my feet. I'm okay with like. I'm not. There are some people who are like, "Oh my gosh, don't touch my feet!
Right.
Don't come anywhere near my feet."
Yeah.
I'm not like that. I'm like, whatever. They're just.
But it's
They're
still a
an
little
appendage.
ticklish.
But I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna seek it out. But yeah, I know there are people who love it. My wife loves it, and
Okay.
she's smart.
So here's I had only ever had like one pedicure before. It was for prom. I got my toes like painted for prom one year, and I wasn't a fan. It was very ticklish feet. I didn't really like it. Well, this weekend on Saturday, I was like, you know what? I want just a break. Like, what's something that I could go do for like an hour to take a break and maybe, relax a little bit, that type of thing. And so I was like, okay, I'll go give it a shot. I'll go try it. Maybe, I'm older now. Maybe it won't weird me out as much that people are touching my feet. Like we'll just see about it. Loved it.
Oh, really?
Absolutely loved it.
Hmm.
So relaxing.
Interesting.
And I don't like getting my nails done. Like, I never have my nails done. I don't like it. I don't like the sound of a nail file. But they don't do that much on your toenails. So, and it's like far enough away. It's not like right there by your ears. Anyway, got a pedicure.
Okay.
Really enjoyed it. Super relaxing.
I think it's really funny that, like, I don't know. I think it's just like proof of the way that you're wired and the way that you are is like you're the girl on the show and you're like, I got a pedicure. Isn't that interesting? How wild for me, a girl, to get a pedicure. Like, if I were to like, what you're saying is you're basically saying it like I would say it. Of like, you guys are never gonna believe what I did this weekend.
No, I did. And some of my guy friends, they text me and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, are you doing anything right now? And I was like, y'all are never gonna believe this.
Yeah.
I'm getting a pet. And they were like, who the hell are you? Yeah. Like, what in the world is this? Anyway, yeah, it was super relaxing. They're like, hey, would you like some wine? And I'm like,
wow.
Sure, I'll take some wine at 1 o'clock on a Saturday.
Sure.
And then, yeah, and it was so great. So, yeah, if you've never done it before, highly recommend it. It is very, very, very relaxing. It's like just relieving. But now I feel like I've got like wimp feet.
So, do you think we need to do like a staff?
I think after magazine season, we should do a staff get-together at the little pedicure shop in Coppell, Texas. It was
and film it.
Yeah.
Get some content.
I don't need to see all y'all's feet on video. I don't think people really want to see that.
Let me tell you, my feet. Ain't nobody needs to see.
But anyway, if you're ever looking for like just a really something relaxing, it was great. Highly recommend it. I see why people do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I had like a girl day kind of. It was crazy.
Crazy. All right. Team Expo. Let's go! Free money! Free money!
Hey, how to sing blue baby. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show live through internet things.
Fact.
My name is Greg Tepper. I am the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, look, we just appreciate you supporting your local mediocre internet show.
Yeet.
That's it. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. Hello, Ashley Pickle.
Howdy.
I walked in the office, and I admittedly walked in late for Hank reasons. But I walked in, and over there in the editorial bunker,
everyone's favorite, Ishmael Johnson.
Ishmael Johnson was over there.
Is in the
Just
office.
standing there. I was like,
an Ishmael in the wild.
I was like, oh my gosh, you're here.
Well, and I
was
even,
like, yeah.
I even
in the very Ishmael way is like, are you gonna say hi?
Yes. I even knew he was here, and then I had come back in the studio and walked back out, and it still surprised me.
It still surprised me.
Like, because I'm not used to seeing anyone when I walk out of there. So seeing a human was just odd. It didn't matter who it was.
Yeah. I mean, you see me every day, which is
yeah, but you're hidden back there. Like, I've got to go, like, actually look. Like, Ish is there when I walk out and turn around, and I was like, oh, person, human being.
I guess that's true.
And you're you, so.
Tough but fair. Today is Monday, April 19th, 2021. 220 days till Thanksgiving. Episode 1147. This is the Bobby Wilson episode. On today's show, my friends, we've got headlines from across the state. We will start with bummer headlines, and then I promise you we will have less bummer headlines, so stay with us, okay? And then back half of the show, we'll be joined by the head coach of those Millsap Bulldogs, Coach Jake Johnson, coming off of a really impressive year, bouncing back. I believe their first winning season since 2009 with a 7-4 mark. We will talk with Coach Johnson. They've got high hopes for 2021. We'll talk to Coach Jake Johnson of Millsap coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Tony Blaylock, Ryan Smiga, Carrie Templeton, and Daniel Agnew. Welcome in, fellas and lady fella. Also, just real fast, when I went to type in Millsap earlier, I definitely wasn't thinking about it and put Millhouse. And I was like, oh,
Sometimes.
God, Tepper's having an effect on me.
Sometimes everything is coming up.
I got about halfway through her house and was like, I got to get a break from Tepper at some point.
It's an illness.
It is.
It's an illness. Okie dokie. We got some headlines to get through from across the state, and I warned you in the offing that we're going to start with some bummer headlines.
Yes.
So just know that these are not all bummer headlines, but we are going to start with some bummer headlines because we can't not start with it. It's been a real bad couple weeks in the state of Texas.
It has.
For just tragedies, and unfortunately, this comes down Sunday. There was if you didn't hear, there was a mass shooting in Northwest Austin, and you're probably wondering, well, why are you guys talking about it here on this very program? And the reason is that one of the victims, it was confirmed, Austin police have not confirmed it, but Elgin ISD has confirmed that one of the victims, of the three victims, was Willie Simmons, the linebacker from Elgin, the North Texas signee. He and another former student, Alyssa Broderick, were among the three victims. He was a captain at Elgin High and a member of the National Honor Society. He was an two-time All-District honors. There are reports, and I don't know how important this is. There are reports that they were dating, that he and Alyssa Broderick were dating. Seth Luttrell put out a statement where he talked about how Willie Simmons is, quote, Willie Simmons is exactly the kind of man that every coach wants to recruit. His athletic talent was obvious, but his personal character, his selfless attitude, and his passion for life made him a natural leader and the perfect teammate. They have arrested Stephen Broderick, 41. I don't feel there are reports out there that this has something to do with this is some sort of domestic violence situation. We don't have all the facts right now, but what we do know, sadly, is that one of the three victims killed in Austin's mass shooting on Sunday was Elgin's linebacker Willie Simmons, the North Texas signee. That, of course, comes on the heels of, if you remember, I believe last week, we talked about Tony Evans. Tony Evans, the Lancaster player, and the Wyoming signee who was shot and killed in Dallas at a hotel party. And then you remember Ty Jordan was killed on Christmas Day. That all goes up against another story, sadly, that's in a truly just shocking story. There was on Saturday, early Saturday morning, 2 a.m., so if you want to call it Friday night, you can. There was a shooting in Mart, the tiny town of Mart, and a couple of the let's see, there were two killed in this shooting. One of them was Sabian Kubica, who was 22. He played his high school football at Riesel. And then Jacob Ibarra, who was 20. He played high school football at Mart. Obviously, both very sad. What has made this even more jarring is that they have made an arrest and made a charge of capital murder for former Houston linebacker and Mart standout Zamar Curvin. He's 21. He has been arrested and charged with capital murder in connection with a double homicide. This is according to KWTX down there in the Waco area. And yeah, Curvin played 3 seasons for Houston. He played I'm sorry, he played 3 seasons for Mart. He was dismissed in December 2020. Curvin played 20 games as a member of the Cougars, starting 5 games as a sophomore. Now arrested for capital murder in Mart. Just a terrible, terrible story coming out of Central Texas there. So yeah,
gut wrenching.
it's
on all
rough weekend there. So okay, those are bummer headlines.
Our thoughts going out to each of those communities as well.
Most certainly. Absolutely. Those are bummer headlines. We're going to put in a hard cut. We're going to say, all right, we acknowledge how important those are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to admittedly less important things.
Yes.
But things that are probably less bummerific.
Yes.
If we will.
A little bit more positive.
Let's talk about college football. And let's talk about the FCS ranks.
The bracket is set.
Because it's bracketology time.
Oh, God. I'm like instant PTSD.
It's bracketology time. The FCS playoffs bracket is out, and the number 2 team in the bracket, the Sam Houston Bearcats. Of course, they came out, they beat Incarnate Word this week to finish undefeated, 6-0. South Dakota State is the number 1 seed. That is probably not a surprise, especially after they beat North Dakota State 27-17 on Saturday. So the first round matchup, Sam Houston State, Sam Houston, I should say, will host Monmouth, 11 a.m. Saturday at Bowers Stadium. Should they beat them, the Bearcats will face the winner of North Dakota State and Eastern Washington for a spot in the national semifinals. Getting North Dakota State on your side of the bracket is no funsies, but you're going to have to beat somebody like that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, number 3, James Madison, sits on the other side of the bracket. Jacksonville State got the 4th seed over on the right side of the bracket. So, yeah.
And that's just down the road.
And, of course, the 2021 FCS Championship game is going to be May 16th at Toyota Stadium in Frisco.
So we're going to need Sam Houston to go ahead and punch their ticket in for us.
Unfortunately, Sam Houston is the only team from Texas to make it to the FCS playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance that if Incarnate Word had beaten Sam,
that
they might have gotten an at-large. That would have been a really impressive resume booster. They would have needed to really come out there and I think beat them impressively. They lost the game. It was kind of a non-issue. So the FCS season for everyone except Sam Houston is over, but Sam Houston still alive. So 11 a.m. Saturday. I would presume this game's going to be televised, at least on ESPN Plus. But 11 a.m. Saturday at Bauer Stadium, it'll be Sam Houston and Monmouth in the first round of the FCS playoffs. So keep an eye on that. We'll talk more about this on Wednesday with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. But the NCAA, this was earlier last week, I guess it was maybe Friday, they announced that the dead period, the recruiting dead period, which has been 15 months of a recruiting dead period, will end on June 1st.
Let's go.
June 1st. That means that you can have official visits. That means that people can get in the doors. That means you can have normal recruiting visits, things like that, campus visits, etc. So the dead period is ending on June 1st after nearly 15 months. So that is, I think that's very good news in my opinion.
Oh man, I'm so excited for those kids too.
Yes.
Like that's the big. It's one thing for us to be able to talk about it or Powers, being excited for it, but for those kids to finally be able to go out and do their actual visits and stuff, how exciting is that?
Most certainly. The other thing for me that I think is important is that I do think that will probably mean that whereas last year you remember the NCAA granted a blanket eligibility waiver to everybody.
Yes.
That means that's probably a one-time thing.
Yes, I would think
get
so.
the feeling that now they are lifting it. That's probably the step towards returning to a normal sense of normalcy in the football world, where this year counts towards your eligibility. You're not going to get an extra year. So,
which is good. The train is back on the tracks.
Yes, March 13th, 2020 was when the recruiting dead period went into effect. And now it will be lifted on June 1st, 2021. Crazy.
Real quick update to our friend Ryan said that you can watch the Sam Houston game on ESPN 3.
Bang.
So boom, it's
ESPN
on TV.
3. That's good. If we weren't going to the barbecue championships, we could have a watch along. But we are going to the barbecue championships,
which I'm super pumped for. Sorry, Sam Houston.
Finally, a couple of high school notes from across the state. These coming down today. A big news coming out of Texoma, and that is that Sherman's looking for a new head coach. J.D. Martinez has been named the head coach at Bridgeport. Bridgeport has hired J.D. Martinez, the head coach at Sherman, to be their next head coach. A pretty good get there for Bridgeport. Bridgeport was a job that I had heard a lot of chatter about. That's a pretty attractive job. And a lot of people were after that. J.D. Martinez is the hire there, so Sherman is open. Of note, that means that we will have an entirely new Battle of the Axe.
Because Denison.
Yeah, Sherman and Denison both making coaching changes. So up there in Texoma, it's been a busy offseason. And finally, news out of East Texas that Paul Pewitt is open. Paul Pewitt is open again.
After 1 year.
Richard Strickland has resigned after one season. Paul Pewitt is open again. If you remember, Tristan Abram left Mejia to go out east to, Greg, don't start a sentence without knowing how it ends.
These 1 year coaching changes start to run together so bad.
Hold on. He went from Mejia to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yep.
So a lot of movement there. So that means that they will have Paul Pewitt will have their third head coach in 3 years.
After going to a state championship.
And by the way, Tristan Abram, I believe, was only there for 2 years.
Yep.
So it's been a revolving door out there in Paul Pewitt in Omaha. So Paul Pewitt is now open as Richard Strickland has resigned after 1 year. Of course, you can find all the latest news and notes in football across the state at TexasFootball.com. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. I want to invite you to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you want the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed to you before it hits newsstands, the only way to get that, the only way to be the coolest guy on your block, or girl, is to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You also get a year's worth of exclusive online content, including premium podcasts like Tep and Step. I believe Step and I are recording a new episode today.
You are, because he put it in the comments. So there you go. It's official.
Okay. I guess we're doing it then. We'll have a new episode up tonight. And then, but you got all sorts of great insider content at TexasFootball.com, including access to our archives, TexasFootball.com/archives, every edition of the magazine digitized, if you're into that kind of thing. It's TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Become a card-carrying Texan for less than a dime a day at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.
Yeehaw.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the head coach of the Millsap Bulldogs. We are joined by Coach Jake Johnson. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Excellent. How are things in beautiful Millsap, Texas?
Man, it's great out here. We just got off the grass today, had a great day. We're fired up over here.
You have every reason to be fired up. You guys are coming off of a really impressive 2020 season, the first winning season there at Millsap since 2009. You guys go 7-4. I guess the easy question, and I'm nothing if not looking for easy questions, is how did it happen? What was the difference last year that kind of put you guys over the top into such a terrific season?
Well, I'll tell you, we the way we approach this is we every year I ask the next group to just take us one step further. And when we got here and we started to build our program, we won one game. You know, it was rough, and every year since then we've been able to push it a little further and a little further and a little further. And this last year, these guys took a huge step for our program, and you know, the level that they played at, the passion they displayed on the grass, the level of execution is what we've been after, and now we hope to build on that even more next year and the years to come.
Yeah, and you know, I look at what you guys were able to do last season, and I think that especially early on, this was my perspective, is that second week against Henrietta, where you guys go out there and take down what's, you know, always a very tough Henrietta squad and really you know, put the boots to them 37-0. That was for me the point where I kind of perked up and go, oh, maybe they got something cooking there in Millsap. Was that a moment for you where you thought we might have something here?
Yes, sir. We've been preaching to the boys that they can do it, and that's a big game for us, Henrietta. As you said, that's a very tradition-rich program, very well coached year in and year out, and our guys went up there and they believed in our system, believed in what they've been doing. This group I had this year, I've been able to be with them every day since the 7th grade, so that was big. And going up there and playing well, doing well against them, it definitely boosted our confidence. I'll say that.
Talking with Jake Johnson, the head coach at the Millsap Bulldogs here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Coach, one of the big differences, I think, was you guys' offense really took flight last year and turned into a real juggernaut. I think a lot of that had to do with your quarterback, Lawson Nairn, a guy who has a junior, 2,200 yards. He was the one of the best players in the district. From your perspective, how integral was he, and was he to your improvement last year, and is he going forward to what you guys want to do in 2021?
Absolutely. He makes the thing go in terms of our RPO game, our quick game, but even just his presence in the huddle. He's one of those guys that he's calm and he's collected and he's under control all the time. And sometimes as a coach, it looks, that kind of looks like he's really not into it, but he is. He's just, he's that rock of stability that you want your quarterback to be. He's very smart with the football. He makes great decisions. And he trusts his guys to be where they're supposed to be, and that's a big deal. He's got really good chemistry with his receivers, and some of that you just can't coach. Those guys have it. They develop that by working together through the summer and on the weekends in the spring, and that's something he brings to the table. That's very exciting.
You mentioned you mentioned taking one step further every single year. Obviously, another step would be a playoff win. There's a lot of stuff there in front of you, but at the same time, let's be frank that I don't think you're going to sneak up on people this year. I think that this is a team that I think people have now understand is going to be ready. You guys have heightened expectations. How do you go about handling those expectations, which haven't necessarily been there in a while?
Sure, you're absolutely right. We have a bullseye on our back, but we like that. We accept that and we'll take it. And I say that because we're not going to change who we are. We're going to do what we do. And what we do is we focus on how we do things. We focus on the controllables. We have to win the battle of controllables, how hard we play, how physical we play, how smart we play. We can control that 100%. And we have to do what we do better than everyone else. And I tell them every week, if we do that, we have a chance to be successful every time we're on the field. So we're not going to change a thing. We're going to be who we are, do what we do, and we're going to enjoy every second of it.
Jake Johnson of Millsap here on Texas Football Today. Coach, this is one of the things that I think you're looking at as far as improving for next year, is the defense, which I think was pretty darn solid last year. When you take a look at your defense, how do you think maybe in 2021, how is it going to compare to what you guys were in 2020, which, again, a good step forward, but how do you think it's going to compare in 2021?
Well, definitely there'll be some holes to fill. We graduated some very strong leadership on both sides of the ball, some very strong leadership. We have some holes to fill, and we have some guys coming up that I feel will bring a little extra bite to certain positions. There will be a learning curve in areas, but schematically it'll be very similar. Our defense, we're not very big physically. We try to rely on speed, alignment, intelligence, and just flat out executing to be able to get the job done.
Finally, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about your travels in the football world. You're well traveled. You played ball in Georgia. You coached in Missouri, where you took a team to a state championship game there, and then in Texas. Is it fair to say I'm certainly teeing it up here, but is it fair to say that you're in Texas for a reason? That coaching here in Texas is where you've wanted to land?
I'll tell you this. I love the state of Georgia. I was born and raised there. My family still lives there, and I love the state of Missouri. But when my son was born, I told my wife, I said, we need to get to Texas. So maybe that answers your question.
It certainly does. He's Jake Johnson. He's the head coach of the Millsap Bulldogs. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a fantastic 2020 season, and can't wait to see your boys in 2021.
Hey, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything y'all do for the sport here in Texas.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach.
Have a great day.
There he goes, Jake Johnson, the head coach of the Millsap Bulldogs, joining us here on Texas Football Today. Good dude. And yeah, look, that is a program. When I say that they had their first winning season since 2009, I mean, here's when their winning seasons were there at Millsap, right? 2020, 2009, 2002 they went 6-5, 1999 when they won their only playoff game in program history.
Wow.
Right? I mean, it's been a program that has. It's a challenge. It's been a challenge, and so anytime that they have that big success, and he's exactly right. Like, he took over, and it was Thudsville. I mean, they went. He took over, and they went 1-9 his first year. But it has been steady growth. And last year was really that leap. Last year was really that leap. And what they did in that week 2 game at Henrietta to go out there and not just win, because I think Henrietta was a little down last year,
Right.
but to go out there and not just win, but to really dominate and to
it was a statement win.
To be the aggressor in that game. Really turned my head, and that's why I was like, okay, Millsap, what you got cooking here? And sure enough, they were able to continue through what's a difficult District 5 3A Division 2. That's the Eastland District there, and they were able to go. They drew Holiday in the first round of the playoffs and nearly beat them, but came up just a bit short. But that, I think that's proof that they're trending positively. Like, they're trending in the right direction. And if they can, they got a ton of experience coming back. Obviously, having Jackson and Nairn back at the quarterback spot, I think is really important. If they're able to take that Lawson Nairn, if they're able to take that next step, like, we're talking about a team that's gonna win just their second playoff game in program history, that can make a run. And by the way, look, I mean, you look at Region 2 there, like, Gunner's there, and ultimately it's gonna matter when you run into Gunner. But if you were able to hang with Holiday, who was a regional semifinalist, like, if you're able to hang with Holiday there when you were that young, they bring back 16 starters this year. I don't know. I think Millsap's one of those programs that I don't think a lot of fans think about. And what I'm trying to do is sound the alarm and say, start thinking about them. Keep them on their radar. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and go 16-0, win a state championship. What I'm saying is, this ain't your grandfather's Millsap program. This is a program that's trending in the right direction.
And the other part of that, like he said, his philosophy is just asking each class, just get a little better each year. The other thing that comes with that is the confidence level of those kids will continue to build, and that's when you really start seeing a program have success. Because whether you have the star quarterback like that or not, as that confidence builds, everyone just gets a little bit better without even having to really think about it athletically speaking.
I've said before that I'm not a huge believer in momentum, but I am a believer in confidence, especially in high school football. And you talk about, like, and not just confidence in the course of a game, but also confidence in the course of, like, a program.
Yeah, that we're gonna go out there and not just keel over to anyone that steps in our house.
Right.
And
it's one of those things that success breeds success, and it proves that you can do it, and it makes it easier to do it again. And that's the biggest thing, and I think that's what's happening there at Millsap, and the build is underway there, and I think that it's impressive what Coach Jake Johnson's been able to do. So we appreciate his time coming up here on Texas Football Today. And now we go over to the pickle zone, the pickle sphere, the pickle perch.
I kind of like pickle perch.
Pickles perch for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
This came down, and Step had told us to keep an eye on this, but the news is official now. Big San Antonio news. Brandeis is now open because David Branscombe to Allen to be the defensive coordinator.
Interesting.
So, yeah, big San Antonio news there, but Chad Morris making a big splash hire there.
Big get. Brandeis does a good job, too. Very
Yeah, big
interesting.
news on both fronts.
Yeah, big news on both fronts. Exactly. It's a good get for Allen. Obviously, get a good defensive mind there in Coach Branscombe, and then obviously there's going to be a good list of applicants there for that Brandeis job. That's a big gig. So
who wouldn't want to live in the championship city? I'm just saying. Go Spurs, go.
I told Pickle this, but she got Hank a book,
and
it's called like Good Night San Antonio,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's just it goes
It's
through
all the things I
it
love
goes
the
all
most
the
in
things
life.
in San Antonio,
Tex-Mex,
and it's
Spurs.
like Good Night Riverwalk, like
Mm-hmm.
Good Night Tower of the Americas, and it's cute. And what you need to understand is that books like that, they are mass produced.
The mariachi band was in there too. Just gotta throw that in there.
But there's a lot of them. There's
Uh-huh.
a Good Night St. Louis. There's a Good Night
Right,
Seattle.
yeah, yeah.
There's a Good Night. But there's also one that we got from friends of ours that's from those same people that Hank really likes called Good Night Baby Jesus, and it's the Christmas one of like the whole nativity scene. And so I just want to be very clear that where Pickle's priorities lie is that she does not want to share the good news of the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Instead, what she wants to do
Is share the good news of our Lord and Savior Tim Duncan.
It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on
I
Twitter
laughed
at
out loud when
DCTF.
you said that.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Millsap coach Jake Johnson for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow again for another one of these shows. We do it again tomorrow? Is that right? On Texas Football Today.